Ozark is a show where I needed to digest my true feelings about it before I could talk about it. That's because I think Ozark is a magnificent show, and whilst it was airing, it could make a claim as being my favourite show. But unfortunately, I just didn't like the ending. Now by ending, I don't mean the final scene, I mean the entire last episode. Every episode of Ozark was fantastic, with each episode seemingly outdoing the last, but this made the finale stand out even more, as it is unquestionably the weakest episode of the entire show. I'm not really sure if I have the proper words to describe it, but the episode just felt off to me. I remember watching the episode and waiting for something great to happen, or something unexpected, or something to make me sad, but none of that happened. If anything, I was bored. And then when the episode cuts to black, I just sat back in my seat with this wave of disappointment coming over me. A disappointment so intense that it made my watching of the Better Call Saul finale quite a nail-biting experience. Fortunately, that was a show that stuck the landing, and then some. Now I'm sure that you're probably expecting me to say that I thought Ozark had a bad ending, but that isn't the case. The ending was neither good nor bad, it just kind of happened. It felt like the writers were like, okay, let's wrap this up, and then just resolved everything in the final episode and killed off a major character. The ending to Ozark isn't bad, the ending is just okay. It's an okay ending, but Ozark was a show that deserved a lot better than just an okay ending. I remember back when Ozark released that I was thinking about making a video on it, but the ending just knocked all the wind out of my sails and I couldn't bring myself to talk about it. However, as time has gone on and there is much more distance between me and its ending, I'm able to look back on Ozark for the wonderful show that it was instead of the whimper of an ending that it delivered. And I would still wholeheartedly recommend Ozark to anyone I meet because it is a great show. I would just also warn them that there is a good chance that they won't be satisfied by the ending. Now I watched Ozark for one reason, and that reason is Jason Bateman. I love Jason Bateman. He's a great actor, but he typically finds himself doing comedies. The best I saw him in was undoubtedly Arrested Development. What a great show that was. Although I could also make a video about Arrested Development with the same title as this video. Anyway, point is, I love him, and he's awesome, but I was very intrigued to see him playing a serious role. Now, this isn't his first foray into serious acting, but this was the project that interested me the most, especially as he was directing some of the episodes. Unsurprisingly, he delivers on both fronts, and it is very clear that he was passionate about this show. Marty Byrde is a character that the audience just can't help but love, especially when compared to his abhorrent wife, but I'll talk about her in just a minute. He's smart and compassionate, yet you can tell that there is a bit of selfishness and entitlement in him. He is well aware of Navarro's power and ability and knows his place, yet he couldn't help but ask Navarro to thank him, even after being tortured. Marty Byrde is a character that wants to keep the peace and let things run smoothly. It is obvious how he ended up in his position and how he plunged his family into chaos. Wendy Byrde is awful and a character that you'll probably want to die. She sucks, she's awful. I wanted her to die so that Marty could find someone nice. She ruins all of Marty's hard work, she overvalues herself only to see it get thrown back in her face, and she makes unnecessary enemies. However, Laura Linney is fantastic in the role. She is a powerhouse performer, and if it wasn't for Julia Garner, then she would undoubtedly be the best actor in the show. When Laura goes for it, you just can't take your eyes off her. She commands your attention just like the character is demanding the attention of the other characters. I may hate Wendy Byrde and wish she received some form of comeuppance, but damn, this show would have been much worse if Laura Linney wasn't in it. What a fantastic actress. Speaking of fantastic actresses, round of applause for Julia Garner. Ruth Langmore is a character that grew on me, and by the end of the show I loved her like I loved Marty. She's feisty and draws your attention like no other character. She's intelligent, yet the show doesn't overplay it or have her understand things that she logically wouldn't. She grew up as a Langmore. There's no way she would understand money laundering like either Marty or his son do. However, unlike Wendy, she actually listens to Marty and takes on his advice. No matter how often she would conflict with the cartel, Marty would always do his best for Ruth, and sometimes Ruth felt more like his daughter than his actual daughter in the show. There are a few extra standouts in Ozark, such as the always punchable Darlene Snell, played with great vileness by Lisa Emery, or Tom Palfrey coming in for a season and getting me attached to a character who's deeply troubled but very kind. Ozark was a fantastic show with a great story. Every now and then there would be some twist in the tale, and all the characters responded to situations like actual human beings. If Wendy did something Wendy-like, then Marty would react negatively to it. Just him having a quiet moment with his daughter, where he gets his feelings about Wendy off his chest, was such a wonderfully character-driven moment that made both him and Charlotte feel more like actual people instead of characters in a drama series. Jonah becoming more distant from his mother and siding more with his father, Ruth and Frank Jr.'s budding friendship, Helen Pierce's manipulation, every character in the show and every member in the audience being horrified by Wyatt and Darlene's romantic relationship, it all felt real and earned, and I loved every second of it. Well, almost every second of it. Ozark is a fantastic show, and I will no longer let its mediocre ending distract me from how much I love this show and every character in it. Please, if you haven't, then watch this show because it is marvellous. Just don't be too upset by its ending being nothing more than alright.